Wes, I was glad you mentioned BlackLotus a minute ago because I feel there's a related topic we talked about a little bit with this Windows 11 update. Or not related, but sort of a similar situation where, okay, I guess background. BlackLotus was a UEFI bootkit tracked as CVE 2023-24932. So UEFI bootkit from a couple years ago that made a pretty big splash, I think, at the time. It was like a very serious issue. And I started looking into it recently for some reason and realized that Microsoft has published an enterprise deployment guidance for the BlackLotus UEFI bootkit this year. In February of 2025, they published this enterprise deployment guidance. And it basically says we're not going to roll this out to enterprises ourselves. We're just publishing this guidance so you can control your deployment plan and your timing of deployments. And it specifically references that because there is a huge combination of device hardware and firmware, and Microsoft is unable to test all of those combinations, you need to test the representative devices in your environment before deploying them broadly. Doing the mitigation means that you need to add the new Windows UEFI CA 2023 certificate and untrust the Microsoft Windows Production PCA 2011 certificate. And it's essentially going to be an irreversible change. You're not once you do that, you can't go back and still use secure boot. And I've been seeing discussion online on like Reddit and Spiceworks and stuff that references an enforcement period that Microsoft is maybe going to have, but they haven't put a date on it yet, where essentially it's like, if you haven't deployed these BlackLotus mitigations yet, something bad happens. I don't know, your devices get bricks. They blanket revoke the 2011 cert, and then anybody that still has that is SOL.
I still think it's recoverable, but what I think I'm hearing is that you need to swap out your KEC or your key exchange key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's effectively exactly what it is, Paul.
Yeah, so that chain, that's in the rest of the art, right? That's part of your chain of trust for secure boot, right? You've got your PK, your platform key, you've got your key exchange key, and then you've got two variables, your DB, which is the allow list, and then you've got your DBX, which is a revocation list. And all of that comes into play when there's a piece of software that's involved in booting your computer that has a vulnerability, has to be revoked, right? Or if I don't know why they're swapping out the KEC and not using the DB. That's interesting, but there was a reason for that. I feel like when Microsoft explained it. Do you remember what that was?
Well, I mean,
their certificate was expired. Was it their certificate expiring? I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it's one's the certificate's expiring, and two is maneuvering towards the opportunity to add more things to DBX. So
to do SBAT, right?
Correct. And part of the reasoning behind that is that there's now so many flavors of BlackLotus that the DBX is getting rather large.
Yep.
And at this point, their typical next step is to revoke the key that they're using above. And when you get to the point where they're at, where they need to revoke, you're now revoking legitimate bootloaders and boot components that are going to cause a lot of systems to be bricked. Now, I mean, to your point, yeah, is it recoverable? Sure. Is it recoverable by the common person? Absolutely.
No, because if you bork it good enough, that's a technical term, you have to go into your UEFI BIOS and manipulate the keys through the BIOS menu. Is how I would, my first thing would be how to recover it.
Yeah. You know what I would tell anybody affected by that? Reinstall. And that's the only thing that's going to really fix it for you. And
well, would it though? Would reinstallation update your keys?
Yeah, it would attempt to go and
Yeah, I gotcha. It'll re-add the KEC, right? Because the key exchange key signs the DB and the DBX because it's a root of trust. So it's safeguarding those allow lists and deny lists on your system, which are all stored as UEFI variables, right? They're just data in a variable that's stored on the SPI flash on your computer in UEFI. But there's protections, obviously, around those, but there's also facilities to update them. Like when we talk about you update them from your operating system, so those variables can be manipulated. There's not a boot service, not a boot services variable. Those can't be, once the operating system is loaded, modified. It's a What do they call the ones that can't be modified, Wes? I forget the term.
Hmm.
It's
I
not
don't know
boot
off the top of my
services,
head.
user services. There's another name for that type of variable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chase, this is why people have a lot of questions, because it's Wes and I have been doing this for a long time and like studied it, and it's, our product is centered around this stuff. But if you haven't done secure boot or updated all this stuff, it's confusing. It's very confusing, to be quite honest.
Well, it's also part of this is a bit of I'll call it a chicken and egg problem is so what do you revoke? And do you end up revoking the things that, like Black Lotus, for example, or do you revoke the key that is signing all the
Yeah.
things that is Black Lotus is using? And we actually, a few years back now, we actually found another major manufacturer that was including a utility that was, we'll say, less than secure in the boot process. And, it was one of those things where it was found to be, effectively think of it like a backdoor that was added in that
Mm-hmm.
was easily susceptible to do nefarious things within the operating system through this utility. But what ended up happening is you had this deployed on, let's just say thousands of copies of firmware that existed out there for various models. And the question is do you revoke each one of those and fill DBX, or do you revoke the key that's also been
Mm-hmm.
used for legitimate things and then now end up bricking a whole bunch of devices out there? Or do
Right.
you go the route that Chase is mentioning where you have a set long duration where you're going to go and do this and you're going to do things more securely, but you have a period that you work up towards. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully by that time they've upgraded to Windows 11, they've installed Windows updates, which have stepped them forward in this process. But there's still going to be that point where you've got to flip that switch, and there's going to be that small percentage that's
Yep.
affected.
Right.
And, these are also probably the same types of folks that are, either not using Secure Boot or not prepared for Windows upgrades. And all of this comes together to, if you're doing things right, you're probably going to have an easy job. If you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing things right, you're in a world of pain that you just don't even know about just yet.
Yeah. And our latest rounds of enhancements will help you with this, in that I worked with research and engineering on many of these features, and some of them are specific to Secure Boot, in that it will now, our product, right, will now tell you, hey, you've got a bootloader, let's say, that is in a DBX update revocation list, which you haven't applied, right? That's something you want to know about, right? Whereas maybe previously we would have said, well, your DBX is out of date, which is enough, but then it's kind of you're on your own to go, well, what bootloaders do I have, and will that update invalidate my bootloader, which means the system's not going to boot with Secure Boot. Secure Boot's going to stop it, right? So there's all these interesting scenarios that we've enhanced to give you some more of this telemetry, because it is complex and there's a lot of different scenarios that you should be aware of, that some could be suspicious. Some are like, hey, you've got an EFI shell in your boot order. Like, that's suspicious, right? Like, or you're running Windows, it's not dual boot, and one of your bootloaders is Grub. It's a Linux bootloader. Why is that there? That in and of itself is suspicious. Could be completely legitimate, but more than likely suspicious. So,
Yeah.
but going back to the upgrade, this is a great reason. If your hardware is older, it needs to be refreshed. Sometimes it might be easy to just put new hardware. Got a brand new system, all the keys are there, Windows 11 is installed, and you're off to the races. It maybe resource-wise, in a lot of cases, just could be better just issue new hardware.